Has never heard of him. There, read his letter." Seated in my club on a dull December afternoon, that was part of a conversation I overheard which greatly interested me. It interested me because only a short time before I had, while staying in Geneva, become acquainted at the hotel with a man named Gastrell, and I wondered if he could be the same. From the remarks I had just heard I suspected that he must be, for the young man in Geneva had also been an individual of considerable personality and a good conversationalist. If I had been personally acquainted with either of the two speakers, who still stood with their backs to the fire and their hands under their coat tails, talking now about some wonderful run with the Pytchley, I should have told him I believed I had met the individual they had just been discussing. But at Brooks it is not usual for members to talk to other members unintroduced. Therefore I remained sprawling in the big armchair, where I had been pretending to read a newspaper, hoping that something more would be said about Gastrell. Presently my patience was rewarded. "By the way, this feller Gastrell who's taken my house tells me he's fond of hunting," the first speaker, whom I knew to be Lord Easterton, a man said to have spent 3 small fortunes in trying to make a big one, remarked. "Said something about huntin' with the beaver or the quorn. Shouldn't be surprised if he got put up for this club later." "Should you propose him if he asked you?" "Certainly, provided I found out all about him. He's a gentleman, although he is an Australian. He told Houston and Prince he was born and educated in Melbourne, and went to his uncle in Tasmania immediately he left school. But he hasn't a scrap of that ugly Australian accent. In fact, he talks just like you or me or anybody else, and would pass for an Englishman anywhere." Without a doubt that must be the man I had met, I reflected, as the two speakers presently sauntered out of the room, talking again of hunting, one of the principal topics of conversation at Brooks's. I, Michael Berrington, am a man of leisure, an idler, I am ashamed to say, my parents having brought me up to be what is commonly and often so erroneously termed a gentleman, and left me, when they died, heir to a cosy little property in Northamptonshire, and with some £80,000 safely invested. As a result I spend many months of the year in travel, for I am a bachelor with no ties of any kind, and the more I travel and the more my mind expands, the more cosmopolitan I become, and the more inclined I feel to kick against silly conventions such as this one at Brooks's, which prevented my addressing Lord Easterton or his friend, men I see in the club every day I am there, and who know me quite well by sight, though we only stare stonily at each other, and asking more about Gastrell. So Lady Easterton had taken an instinctive dislike to this young man, Hugesson Gastrell, and openly told her husband that she mistrusted him. Now, that was curious, I reflected, for I had spoken to him several times while in Geneva, and though his personality had appealed to me, yet well, there was something about him that puzzled me, something I cannot define what it was, for it was more like a feeling or sensation which came over me while I was with him, a feeling that he was not what he appeared to be, and that I saw, so to speak, only his outer surface. "Hullo, Michael!" The greeting cut my train of thought, and screwing myself round in the big armchair, I looked up. "Why, Jack!" I exclaimed. "I had no idea you were in England. I thought you were bagging rhinoceroses and things in Nigeria or somewhere." "So I have been. Got back yesterday. Sorry I am back, to tell you the truth," and he glanced significantly towards the window. A fine wetting drizzle was falling. Dozens of umbrellas passed to and fro outside. The street lamps were lit, though it was barely 3 o'clock, and in the room that we were in the electric lights were switched on. The sky was the colour of street mud, through which the sun, a huge blood red disc, strove to pierce the depressing murk of London's winter atmosphere, thereby creating a lurid and dismal effect. Jack Osborne is a man I rather like, in spite of the fact that his sole aim in life is to kill things. When he isn't shooting hippos and rhinos and bears and lions in out of the way parts of the world, he is usually plastering pheasants into home covers or tramping the fields and moors where partridges and grouse abound. "Had a good time?" I asked some moments later. "Ripping," he answered. "Quite ripping."